Good evening, everyone. Oh, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I do have a guest on tonight that is one of those guests that really doesn't need an introduction. Mr. Dave Schrader, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
joining
He doesn't need an introduction, but his ego feeds off the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, voted the best looking paranormal investigator in his home 17 years running, Dave Schrader. See, just something like that. That's all.
That was awesome. Thanks. Can
Thanks.
you meet me every Wednesday?
Yeah, just I'll come on. That's what you need is right after your music ends, you need a nice voiceover that comes in and says, "This is the Paranormal Brew with Taryn."
Yes,
Bam.
That was awesome.
There you go. I laid that down for you. Now you just boom.
Like, hey, Dave, can I use your voice?
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you this evening? Are you ready for turkey?
I'm doing well. I am not. We are. I don't have kids tomorrow for the first time in forever. Wow. Everybody's off at other parents' houses and with their in-laws and everything. So we're just loafing. I went out and got a couple of roaster chickens, and that's about it. We're gonna take it easy. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Last couple of years, that's what me and my boyfriend did. We were by ourselves. We just made a little turkey. We had some little drinky drinks and just enjoyed our night. And it's nice.
Nice. Yep.
So, there are so many things in time that people know you for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Holzer files, and so many. Devil's Perch. There's so many things.
Yeah. Don't forget my time as a Chunkendale dancer.
Really?
Well, yeah, I was part of the Thunderer Down Underer. That was a totally different, more generic version of the dance crew, but
Oh, we're on TikTok too. So there's some people are saying hi to you, Dave. Betsy says, "Hey,
hello, TikTok."
Huh?
Yeah, I said, well, hello, TikTok. It's good to have everybody joining us tonight. Have a little fun. I'm open. Whatever questions you guys have for me, whatever stories. If you want fashion advice, financial advice, love advice, I will tap into my psychic abilities for the first time on your show tonight, Taryn. And I will do readings for any of the people that have questions.
Awesome.
I'm not guaranteeing they're going to be good readings because this would be the first time I'm ever doing it, but I'm willing to tap in. I go an extra mile for my favorite paranormal peaches.
Yay! And they're all here, by the way, as if we would be there anywhere cheering you on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Of course they're all
here.
It.
I know.
So I do want to say,
mm-hmm.
I do want to bring up your awesome relationship with Shane because
mm-hmm.
I saw you two together for the first time this past time in Gettysburg, and
mm-hmm.
you guys literally are like brothers. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys are so awesome together. You make such a good duo. And I just wanted to tell you that I absolutely love seeing you together. You guys really balance each other out very well. And you could just look like you guys mesh.
Yeah. I've got the brains and the looks. He's got the t-shirts. I don't know. Messing with him. I love Shane. He is like a brother to me. We hit it off so quickly.
Yeah.
When we met, and it is a very big brother, little brother adversarial kind of thing that we have, but it's all done in love and jest. And he takes shots at me, I take shots at him, but I would back that guy to the wall and back again, no matter what. He's truly one of the best little humans I know out there. Little. Did you hear me say that, Shane?
I love it. Oh my gosh. It's kind of like how The Rock always makes fun of, it's like The Rock and Kevin Hart.
That's right. A lot of people compare me to The Rock. Only because of the eyebrow. They're like, "Oh, you stole the people's eyebrow." I go, "I'm older than The Rock, and I've been throwing this eyebrow many more times, much longer than The Rock has been throwing it. He just gets all the accolades because he's got a body to go with the brow. I'm just the brow of destiny."
Listen, you got a bald head. Bald
Mhm.
heads go a long way.
It's
Women
a
like
solar
bald heads.
panel. They didn't, Taryn. When I first shaved my head, nobody was doing it except for like neo-Nazis and psychopaths. And I remember when I shaved my head and I go to my dad, he goes, "Jesus, you look like Charles Manson. Why'd you shave your head?" And now in Minnesota, like
Yeah.
I could, it's like that Thomas Crown Affair movie when he has everybody else dressed like him and he could just fade off into the crowd. In Minnesota, if I duck my head for 10 seconds in a crowd and pop up, you'll never see me. It's like a Where's Waldo, because we're all bald with goatees here, all heavy set bald guys with goatees in the state of Minnesota.
It's
It's the
crazy
only
because
way we
like
survive the winters.
I couldn't even picture you with hair.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't even picture with hair. Like there's guys that can rock it, and then there's guys that can't.
I
And
would like to say that when I had hair, I rocked it. And
but
that's
I'm
how
saying
I
no, the
will
bald,
haunt.
even the bald, like being bald, like there's
Yeah.
like certain guys that can pull that off, and
Yeah.
my
Thank you.
boyfriend is one. You fall into that category. People, there's just some people that can pull the baldness off.
I wish I could pull the baldness off and go back to having hair.
That was funny.
Thank you. I was just trying to see if I could shoot you over a picture so that you can actually
Oh yeah.
see what I looked like at one point in my history with hair. I call it the wham years. I had very fluffy, sandy brown hair with red highlights and a big hoop earring. I was very George Michael-y before George Michael. See, I was George before George. I was The Rock before The Rock. It's just everybody's a follower. I'm just a trendsetter in my own world, Taryn.
Oh, you're so awesome. Stop it.
Yes,
But
I'm a legend in my own mind.
speaking of that, like before we went live,
Yes.
and this is actually kind of like, because I've been doing my podcast since 2017. And so before we started talking, you've been doing this 17 years. And
Right.
and I don't know if people know that. I mean, people know you from being on TV, but I mean, maybe now they know that you do the Paranormal 60. But I have a Darkness Radio t-shirt, like the whole time that you were doing that and stuff.
Yeah.
So before that, you were like giving me advice, and there's so many pop-up podcasts now and people doing podcasts all over the place. Why don't can you share with everybody like basically like what you were saying to me? Because honestly, one, I don't know if you know, but I was a little nervous about this interview tonight. But also
Why?
two, I don't know. I don't know. The peaches were like, "Are you crazy? Like we love like David, and I'm like, I don't know why."
Yeah.
Um, but two, we were talking about, how I said, I felt like I was when I asked you to come on, I felt like I was bothering you, but you gave me some good advice that I don't really get to talk that much to people that I've looked up to that do podcasts and have done, like James Johnson was somebody, that I, used to listen to and stuff, and I've never really talked to anybody about the whole podcast side of the paranormal world. So
Yeah, I just said don't be nervous about asking. You're not putting somebody out by asking them. If they said no and you keep bothering them, that's putting them out. But listen, we're all in this field because we're fascinated and interested in it, and we have a story to share. And I've done podcasts where there are 5 listeners, and I've done podcasts where there's 1,000,005 listeners. My concept is I want to share with people, and I want to talk, and I want to have a open dialogue. So I'm totally down with it. And most people you're going to find in this field are. And if you catch them on a bad day, my biggest tip is to you, hey, I host this podcast. It's called the Paranorml Brew. I'm really interested in your aspects and what you share, and I would love for you to be on my program. And if they say, nah, I'm really not interested at this point, you can say, that's fine. Here's my card. If you ever get an opening or you feel like you have something you want to promote, just get in touch with me and then leave it in their hands. And that's usually the best way to go about doing it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like so I'm trying to teach myself that part of it. So when I reached out to you, you were like the first one where I was like, okay, because I've been wanting you to come on, but I just never wanted to. I know I was just worried. I don't want to say afraid to ask, but I felt like,
I understand. Right.
But then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it, so I did it. And surprisingly, here you are. I'm happy about it. But then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to try somebody else. So then I reached out to John Edward from Crossing Over. That was another big one for me to reach out to. But you're right. You just have to just say, okay, whatever, F it.
Right. Right. There are some that just, there are some that are kind of on a different level and a different echelon, but then with that said, I didn't think I'd get James Von Prague. I had him on twice. I had Dan Aykroyd on twice. I had Dan Aykroyd and his father on. So you never know, but you're definitely not going to get him if you don't ask him. And the worst case scenario is they say, no, not right now. Okay, here's my contact info. If you're going to be in town or you're promoting anything and you'd like us, like me to have you on, boom. And that's all you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny thing about Dan Aykroyd. So I thought I was reaching out to Dan Aykroyd because he had a blue check mark, but wound up not being. I'm like, why is he answering me? It's like, why is he? But it wound up not being Dan Aykroyd. So that's probably why they were answering. But so did you start out with a podcast and then got into the shows and then the investigating, or were you investigating?
No. Funny, weird kind of roundabout way. I was a fan of the shows just like everybody else, and I was watching Ghost Hunters. And it was an early season 1 or 2. And you know how they kept losing their equipment and their cables and this and that. Well, the nerd in me sat down and wrote an email to the Atlantic Paranormal Society saying, hey, when I was in the audiovisual club at school, here's what I did and how I kept track of all of my equipment. And I sent the email. And the next day, there was an email back from Jason Hawes. And this is when we had AOL. And if you remember AOL back in the dark ages of the internet, you could suddenly, somebody would pop up on your screen. And he just said, hey, dude, I hate this back and forth texting nonsense. Can I just give you a call? And I said, sure. And I talked to him. We just kind of became friendly. And then I owned my own wholesale company at the time. And I said, I have something for you because you do a lot of homes with children. And he's like, yeah. So I sent him, I had all these stuffed animals like Beanie Baby kind of characters. I said, I have this box. And then, when you've got to go to a family with kids, you give them a little stuffed animal, keep them distracted and stuff. And he was like, dude, that's really nice of you. And then a couple weeks later, he goes, I'm going to be doing this thing called UnivCon at Penn State. And Grant and I would like you to come on out. You'll be we'll take care of you while you're out there. You just have to get there. So I got there and they set me up and I was kind of their unofficial photographer for the weekend. I just hung out with them and I do all the fan pictures. So for anybody that has pictures from about 2005 into mid 2006 at these conventions, I was probably your photographer of those shots. But we hit it off. And then, Tim Dennis and I had been friends since college back in 1988 through 1990, 91. And he stayed in radio. We did college radio together. And he just hit me up one day in 2005 and said, hey, I got a 1 hour spot to fill on this radio station from 11 to midnight. Let's do a radio show. What do you want to talk about? I said, well, it's a good time to talk about ghosts. Let's talk paranormal. There's nobody else out there besides George Norrie and Art Bell and Coast to Coast.
Right.
He said, okay. And we launched on January 1st, 2006. And Jason Hawes agreed to be my first guest. And John Zaffis, I think, was my second guest. Annie Wilder, a local author who had a very haunted house here in Minnesota, was my third guest. And then Grant Wilson, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, Steve Gonzalez. So the whole tap screw just rolled in and kept popping up once a month to help me. And that really built me from the ground up to start. And that was it. So I've been a part of those events and have had a great time. That's where I met Megan as well, who just popped up on our screen. I think at UnivCon the first time.
Yeah.
So It's just been an amazing ride, and I've been in the right place at the right time, and I did Darkness Radio all the way until this last December, and walked away to kind of freshen my mind up, and then had a couple months off, and realized I was going to drive myself and my family crazy if I didn't do something with my free time. So I reinvented and came out with the Paranormal 60, and now I'm doing it all over again.
And you have like some awesome guests come on. I watched the one with Jeff Ballinger. He is so funny.
Yeah, Jeff Belanger, another good guy. He's like another brother to me. This field has brought me into connection with some just remarkable people. It's always funny. I feel kind of weird. I've been living in the state of Minnesota for 35 years now.
Yeah.
Yesterday was my 55th birthday. Nice. And I moved to Minnesota when I was 20. I'm sorry, I've got to grab my cat or he's going to knock this whole system over. He's trying to jump up on my lap.
Oh,
sorry,
hi, baby.
Yeah, there's Mr. Mittens.
I love it.
And it's been a crazy ride, lots of fun stuff, being in the right place at the right time, and just kind of doing what I love to do, and getting to talk about topics that fascinate me. And man, you can't go wrong. And then you meet all these great people that, we're a society, and it doesn't always get along well, but when you connect with people, you connect with people. And, Jeff Belanger and Aaron Sagers and Shane Pittman and guys like that make it worth my time. John Zaffis, they've been great buddies. Josh Gates. Yeah. It's funny. He approached me way back when I was doing the Queen Mary events, and he reached out to me. Hey, my name is Josh Gates, and I'm doing this new show, and I would really like to come hear Lauren Coleman, and I'm wondering if I could just get a ticket for his talk. And I'm like, Josh, just come listen to his talk. And we became buddies. And that's what I've really enjoyed, doing this, is the people that I've met that I didn't expect that I'd become friends with. And now I get messages from, and we hang out and we go do things. And it's really been an incredible ride.
You guys all seem similar though. Like, I know Josh Gates is funny as anything. You're funny.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Jeff is hilarious. Jeff is hilarious. My stomach hurts whenever he's around.
He's all right, I guess. Yeah.
But
this show's about me, Taryn. So let's get back to me. Yeah. Right, buddy?
I love it. But now I don't even know where I was going with that.
Sorry, I just realized I'm starting to look like a Bond villain here. Bald guy stroking his cat. Yes, Taryn, tell me about your plans.
I love it. My baby's back there. He's back there bathing himself right now. But now I don't even know where I was going with that. So do you?
We were talking about how funny Jeff Belanger was.
No.
Blah, blah, blah. No. He is. He's great. And go check out his podcast as well for your listeners. It's called New England Legends. And he and Ray Auger do an amazing job. And those podcasts are anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes long. And they dive into a story, a cool history and mystery. And Jeff's really a talented guy in this field and has made the paranormal accessible to those of us out here. So I'm a huge fan as well as a good friend of his.
Yeah. Now, you both were writers for Ghost Adventures, right? Were you guys writers at the
No. Same time? So this is Josh Gates. I just hung out with him. Not that I want to drop names, but I just hung out with him. He was in Minnesota doing a live event, and he goes, Schrader, what you don't get credit for is you're kind of the unofficial mayor of the paranormal. You know everyone. You've put everyone together. You've set things. You've introduced people. When I stopped working with Ghost Hunters for live events, I had become friends with the Ghost Adventures guys, and that was when their documentary first came out. And we just hit it off and became buddies. And then one day, Zach wrote to me and he goes, do you know a really good paranormal author, somebody who's really good at research and is smart and fast on his feet? And I said, yeah, I do. Jeff Belanger. And I introduced him, and Jeff got hired and has been with them. I don't know, what are they in season 935? They've been around for 27, 28 seasons. Jeff's been the writer for every episode of Ghost Adventures. And so I was happy to make that connection for him. And then I joined them for about 5 years behind the scenes, helping them with location scouting and research and doing some of that work and connections, which is again
Gotcha.
my forte. So yeah, I worked for them, and I stopped actually working for them 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
I popped up on about 8 or 9 episodes of Ghost Adventures. Plus, I did their 2 live Halloween specials. So I've very fun. I got to do Paranormal State, I think, in their second season. That was the first TV series I ever showed up in. I did an episode called First Contact. Then I started on Ghost Adventures. I did a TV miniseries with Zach called Paranormal Challenge. That was like 12 or 13 episodes long. That was a lot of fun. I've shown up on Haunted Hospitals, Fright Club with Jack Osborne and the Ghost Brothers, and trying to think. And then I did 2 seasons of the Holzer Files, and then this new season of Ghosts of Devil's Perch.
Yeah.
And I don't know what comes next, but I'm waiting for it. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's awesome to be like ghost hunters. They're a group, you know what I mean? They kind of they do everything together. They, you know what I mean, their shows, which is great, but you're like this independent social butterfly, just like all over, like you just mingle with everybody. And I mean, that's awesome to see.
Are you calling me some kind of paranormal whore? Is that what you're trying to say about me, Taryn?
Oh, I said butterfly. It's so far
butterfly, whore. It's the same thing. I know what you're getting at, Taryn. No, I appreciate that. I've been, but it's none of it's been just me. I've always had just good support around me. Tim was a part of Darkness Radio and my partner for all those years, so he was there supporting and lifting up, and the friends I've made in the field, and they've all done favors for me as time has gone. So it's we did build a nice community. We may not all get along all the time, but we we're like a paranormal family. There's going to be some squabbles and infighting from time to time, but for the people that you love and you care about, y'all get back together again. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with that earlier. You brought me back. You brought me back, but like, you always find, it might take it. I'm learning that it takes a while to find your circle or find your people. You know what I mean? But along the way, you meet some shitty people along the way. And you get like. But I feel like those.
Taryn, they're on there listening to you right now. Stop it.
They probably are.
I've got like cat hair everywhere now from petting my maniacal cat. So I apologize.
Somebody asked if your cat was a Maine Coon.
No, he's just a big, dumb, fluffy, lovable cat.
Tabby.
I'm not a cat guy, Taryn. I'm not a cat guy. I don't like cats, and I have 4 of them. I love this one. This one's my best buddy. He's helped me through a lot in my life. He's a good boy. He's my buddy.
So I had one like, look at how handsome he is. Oh my gosh.
And he knows it too. So arrogant.
Oh, I love it.
And he's like, I've pooped in a box, Father. Clean it.
I love when they're sassy. I did have 4. I have 3 now, but I did at one point have 5. Now I have 3.
We did too. Yeah.
I love cats. So I have a dog, but I do love cats. They're very, they fit my lifestyle, very independent, but also loving.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
Yeah. My cats are a lot like my children. They're only around when they want something, and they're not affectionate unless they're tired. And then they want me to rub their head. So
yeah, I have special. Mine are always special. Like one's on Prozac.
Wait, are we talking kids or cats again?
Cats. I don't have any kids. I have no human children. Yeah. Only for
not that you know of.
I can't even say true because
yeah, and you got to be careful. I'm like the most prolific man in the paranormal. If you hug me a little too long at a paranormal conference, there's a chance you're going home pregnant. That's what the fear has been.
I did hear that.
That's why you'll notice half of the peaches when they hug me, they keep their waists way back out and just give me the quick shoulder pat.
I just walk by and go, yay!
Yep. That's about it.
So what I wouldn't say what was your most favorite, because I know that would be wrong to ask, but what would you say was your, I don't know how to say. So out of the shows or out of the projects that you've worked on, what is your favorite? Is the podcast stuff your favorite to do? Is TV?
I think the podcast first and foremost, and doing radio, and then I got to step up to Coast AM. I used to listen to Coast I loved Coast with Art Bell. And, I always fantasized, boy, it would be great to host that. And I got to host it. I hosted it for 5 years. I was a fill-in host on the weekends. And I think I was also the first host to ever fill in for George during the week. Not on a Friday. I think I filled in for him on a Monday and Tuesday one time, which was new. So that is my favorite aspect. And then, sadly we lost Art Bell. He passed away a few years ago, and he had hosted another show called Midnight in the Desert, which was his final paranormal themed show. And his replacement host couldn't come out of mourning and just didn't return to the show. So they asked me to take over, and I gladly stepped into that role. It cost me my role on Coast to Coast. They didn't, they saw it as an issue. And I thought that was ridiculous because, Art was dead. George is still alive. There's no more rivalry. And I certainly had no rivalry. So I didn't see a problem with it, but they did. And I was not asked back, but I've been back as a guest, and George has always been very courteous to me that way. And Ian Punnett and the great crew behind the scenes. But I got to host Art Bell's first show, Coast to Coast, and I got to host Art's second and final show. I should say final, not second. I got to host Midnight in the Desert. I'm the only other host in the world that got to host both of his programs. So I'm proud of being a part of that legacy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I did not know that, so I just learned something about you.
I try to give you a little nugget. I see Megan says I look like I'm all holy with this ring around my head. This is actually, that's a really cool big giant sign I have on my wall with Scully, my my mascot for my podcast. So
wait, that's Scully. He's my co-host.
Again, 17 years. That's Scully.
Yeah, I know. Well, see, I have a shirt with that.
You'll be hearing from his attorney.
I didn't know his name was Scully. I put this up. I said my new co-host, and I said I got to name him. And all these people were giving me all these names, and somebody said Scully, and I was like, oh, I like that. Now I'm thinking X-Files. I didn't know that. No, he had
that they were just stealing from me. Those sons of bitches.
So I named him Scully. Oh, okay. I'll change.
Well, you just spell his Scully like Dana Scully, and I'll stick with Scully Skully. And I'll always have the better one, but that's okay, Taryn. Don't let that get to you.
We'll send you our picture. I'll send you a Christmas card. It'll be me and my Scully with a C.
Nice.
Sorry. What would you say was your most I don't know how to ask this.
I know I threw folks, I threw her under the bus before the show. I said, and don't ask me all the same standard crap questions everybody asks me. What got you started? What's the scariest thing? What's the weirdest place?
Well, wait a minute.
So I kind of threw her under the bus last minute. Yeah.
So somebody asked that question earlier, and I was like, "You're probably I'll skip that." I don't mean to skip it.
I'll answer anything, and I'll just change it up from other stories I've told. So you ask whatever you want, Taryn, and I'll be here to answer for you.
All right, so I'm going to go up here. I have them starred. So Nighthawk says, Dave, what was your favorite place to investigate and why?
That's like picking my favorite kid, man. It's hard and it changes on a daily basis. I really loved Waverly Hills. I loved the Queen Mary. I was going there 2 times a year, sometimes 3 times a year to do live events. The Stanley Hotel. 2 to 3 times a year, Eastern State Penitentiary, Ohio State Reformatory, Mansfield Reformatory, the Palmer House in Minnesota. They're also beautiful and unique. My new favorite one is Joliet State Prison in Joliet, Illinois. And I'm not saying that just because I'm selling tickets to an event, but I'm selling tickets to an event that's coming up this May. So if you'd like to go ghost hunt with Shane Pittman and myself at Joliet State Prison, which lives up to its reputation, blew me away. That is one of hands down the most haunted locations I've ever been to. You can go to darknessevents.com and get tickets. Darknessevents.com. We are almost sold out of the VIP 2-night tickets. There are a few of the 1-day tickets still available. But that place, Taryn, we had direct voice phenomena. We had ghosts whistling. We're standing there. We're all accounted for. And
I love that.
You could hear. footsteps walking above us. It was so unnerving that the security ran up. They're like, somebody got in the building. Somebody got in the building. Security ran up, checked. There's nobody else there. And as
Wow,
soon as
that's
they
so
come
awesome.
down, it starts walking above us again.
Wow.
We got some great EVP, electronic voice phenomena. If there's anybody
Yeah.
that's still living in a cave and doesn't know what EVP stands for. So
Yeah.
that one, I think I'll go with that one right now. That is one of my favorites. That's why I'm going back. We did 3 events this last year there, and they all sold out. And I'm doing another one this year, and I'm only doing the one at Joliet this year. So if you want to go, this is going to be the one to go to, and it'll be in May, the first weekend in May. We're calling it the Clinko de Mayo, back behind bars.
Nice.
So we're
I
going to have
like
a good
it.
time. Yeah, yeah.
I like it. That's awesome. I was going to say that to you, like, is there one like to date right now? Because Rolling Hills was always
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorites because everything, I don't really see anything, or, sometimes I can hear, I'm clairaudient, um,
Mm-hmm.
but not all the time. And
Mm.
Rolling Hills, I saw apparitions. I felt a breath, and I heard a laugh and all kinds of stuff. But that was always my number one. Now it's Hinsdale. And I know that's like everybody's been going to Hinsdale, and Hinsdale, is like a thing. But I had some of the best experiences there that weekend.
Cool.
I mean, the best.
Well, you just got to get the Peaches to run an event there and hire old Dave Schrader to come in and be a lead investigator for the weekend, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we can do that anywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you're selling me on Hinsdale. I've not been there, so I'm
Oh
willing to come
no.
have a little fun. Yeah, no, I
Oh
have
my
not yet.
gosh. It was the best weekend. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we literally were in the living room, and it sounded like somebody walked into the kitchen, messed with some of the plastic bags on the table. We actually thought it was Kim. So
Yeah, I
nobody
was just gonna say, are you sure Kim wasn't hitting the wine and then wandering around the
we
house
thought it was
looking for
Kim.
another corkscrew? Yeah, okay.
So nobody like really, like, at first nobody really paid attention. Like, but then when they didn't, we were like, Kim, when they didn't continue to come into the living room where we were all at,
Mm-hmm.
and Kim was sleeping in the bed, we were like, that was awesome. And
Maybe
we
she
got it
was
on
astral projecting looking for the corkscrew.
maybe. Probably.
Just a
Um,
thought. You can't throw that stuff out. I mean, there's always that chance.
Dave, do you believe spirits can find each other from the same time period?
Sure. Sure. I think sometimes here's an interesting element. You're mediumistic. And I've had a lot of people that are mediums tell me sometimes the reason we don't make communication with our loved ones after they pass, and I'm sorry for the weird voice and to keep drinking. I got this nagging cough I cannot get rid of. Anyway, is that sometimes grief gets in our way. Our grief is so thick and strong, and we're so sad and in that place that it makes it hard for the spirit realm to make their way through to us. So I I often wonder if that's the same thing in the spirit realm. If they're so grief stricken in their realm, seeking their loved ones and ones from that time era, are they just missing each other? Are they a page off from each other in that same history book? But I think that I think on Holzer Files, I feel like we connected some of those spirits again. At least I hope we. And a lot of the places where we did clearing prayers and tried to bring these people back together, we're 2, 3 years out from doing those episodes. And a lot of those locations tell me everything's quiet. They've got different activity, but they really believe that the ghosts that we went to help, have
Wow.
moved on around each other. Yeah.
I had an interesting question come up, and I like to get people's opinion about it. But somebody had
Okay.
asked a question one time about, do you think that intelligent spirits can see residual spirits?
That's an interesting element, right? Can they sense energy like that too? I think it depends on where they are in the level. I also got to tell you, Taryn, I don't think that ghosts are necessarily, we can't pigeonhole them. We can't just say this is what a ghost is. There are
Right.
too many different elements. And I think that some of the stuff you're hearing in your house at night when you're alone in a place that nobody's died in, but you're hearing walking around or banging, that might not be from your past, Taryn. That might be from the future. That may be the people that live there 20, 30, 40 years from now.
Right.
And they're hanging up a picture and they're disturbing your environment. They're shaking it back up. So I think that there's some of those elements. So you may be the residual ghost to them.
Yeah.
You may be the intelligent haunting to them as they are to you, and why some ghosts seem surprised by us as much as we are by them. Right. And I think there's a lot going on when it comes to the paranormal realm. And that's why I've given up trying to define what a ghost is. I can give you definitions of what the different terms mean, but I don't think that we're necessarily dealing with any one particular aspect of a haunting. Right. But yeah, I would guess so. Why wouldn't they sense those other, if they're in an energetic pattern? But again, if they're kind of vibrating on a level up here and then other spirits way down here, they may not even know that they're in the room. I've been there, and I know you have, right? We've been in haunted locations where you're picking up on the little boy in the corner, and Chip Coffey's like, oh, no, there's a elderly woman here, and she was one of the enslaved people, and she's all up, but he's not sensing the kid. And you're like, is he nuts? Why is he not seeing the kid? You may just be picking up at that level. He may be picking up at that level, and you're reading a different chapter in the same book.
Right. Yeah. I say that all the time. I say, us as humans, we have to have labels for everything, and we have to think about how people perceive things and how people take things. Like, we could all, it's like that description of, you start at the end of the line and you tell somebody something, pass it on, pass it on, pass it on. And by the time it gets here, it's like a totally different thing of whatever really happened.
The telephone game. Yeah. Right.
And so, like, and I do think we have different types of antennas. And I think the universe is, there's so many possibilities out there of what things can be and what can't be. Maybe I see it as Casper, you see it as Bigfoot, or, somebody sees it as a UFO and I see it as, Mothman. I'm just using that as an example, but, I've never really done any research, any investigating or research into anything else. I went Bigfoot hunting one time, so really my only experiences with ghosts.
Taryn, I was there. You weren't Bigfoot hunting. You were just drunk trying to find your way out of the woods. You can't label that as Bigfoot hunting. All right, guys, where's everyone? Everyone, did you see that mysterious creature in the woods?
And I said, oh, it's just Dave.
You forget. I've hung out with you guys way too often. I know how you guys are seeing things, how the spirit realm works around you.
They love us.
Yes, they do. I think it's guys dressed up in costumes to get your attention.
Whenever at Hinsdale, when we went, whenever we were being our cackling henny self, laughing, joking, busting on each other, that's when stuff was happening.
Right.
And it was when we weren't paying attention, and when we were just like being ourselves, and we started to notice that it just, and first night it was kind of quiet, and then it was just like the stuff just kept being more and more and more and more and more. So we kind of just were like just hanging out and being ourselves. Like we were on like this girls' vacation and we were getting like all this stuff happening. It was awesome. Well, you have to go.
Because you're not in the mindset that sometimes we're so hyper focused on having an experience the way we've been told these experiences happen that I think we're missing other elements. I'll give you a very weird, and I don't talk about this often, so this is another one of those rare stories I'll share with you. I was at the Queen Mary, and it was one of our last events, and I was there with my girlfriend, and I was like, wow, this is it. This is my last event at the Queen Mary. And the lights were all off and we were in that ballroom and we were just standing there and it was just surreal. And, we started making out and then all of a sudden both of our heads stopped and turned at the same time. And I kind of looked at her and she looked at me and I go, did you just see that? She goes, I think so. So we started making out again and our heads snapped the other direction at the same time. And it was when we weren't focused on our surroundings. It was like those magic eye posters, when you stare at them, all you see are paisley patterns. And when you kind of look through them, all of a sudden you see the Statue of Liberty pop out. I think that once we weren't hyper focused on it, we started seeing the apparitions moving around in the room around us. And I don't think that they were necessarily intelligent. As a matter of fact, I often wondered, are we seeing residual of the energy of the people that were here for this event or one of the thousands of events that are held on the ship? Because it looked like they were getting up from seats and walking around this room. But we both saw it simultaneously.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting element that when we weren't focused on it. So I'm not saying that it's an experiment that it will always work, but being a scientist, I'm willing to try it, Taryn.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something else. That actually happened to me once before, but
not with me. Let's go on the record. Not with me. All right.
No, in my house. And that, it was, we were in bed and I look over and I see this woman and I never see anything. And I see like a white woman, and I don't know if she did intelligently see me or not, but I know as soon as I saw it and I go, what? And it went this way, and went away. And that's only happened to me once. And I thought that was like, that was insane. Like I was like, yeah, no, didn't like that.
Why do you think all ghosts wear white or gray? Is there a good sale on that color? Is it just like the most generic basic sheet that they can find in the other world? I don't understand.
No. You know what I saw recently?
What?
It kind of freaked me out because I don't know anything about it, but the best way I could describe it, I was on vacation first of all. So I was on vacation. I'm in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. A vacation. What's that like?
It was awesome.
Uh-huh. That sounds something harder to experience than a Bigfoot sighting, to be honest.
It really is. You have to plan like a whole year in advance. It's hard.
Like too much work.
It is. So I look over and I don't know if you saw, did you ever watch American Horror Story? The first season, the haunted house one, and the guy that was in the black suit.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking and all of a sudden I see this and it was shiny, like pleather, like shiny pleather with this yellow glow around it. I know I sound crazy. I was not drinking. I was totally sober. And it literally, all I saw was like the back side, like because there was a wall right here. So all I saw was like the back portion and it went into the other room. And I was like, what was that? And I didn't hear anything at that moment. And then the dog.
Not even the.
Nothing.
Of the rubber pants rubbing together? No? All right.
I didn't even hear the dog walking into us. That it was like almost like my ears opened up and I could, and then I said, did you just see that? And they were like, what? They all thought I was crazy, but I know I saw that and I've never seen anything like that before. I have no idea what it was or why I saw it. I didn't feel threatened or anything. It was just, and I didn't experience anything for the rest of the week. Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, nothing. That was it. It was the oddest thing.
Very strange.
Yeah. So that would be like the weirdest thing that I've ever seen. What about you?
I think that the bags under my eyes are haunted because sometimes they're much larger, and I think ghosts are hiding inside of them. I could be wrong, but I'm still working on that theory. Weirdest thing I've ever seen? I don't know. I've seen so many bizarre shadowy figures, creepy Pazuzu-looking face at Rolling Hills Asylum. Ghosts, I was just here the other night doing my show in my studio here, and as I'm talking, all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, I saw a full head lean around the wall and look at me, and I kept talking, and then I had to apologize to the audience. I'm like, if you're watching this, a head just poked around the corner and looked at me. I didn't see it full on. It was out of the corner of my eye, but it was definitely a head.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I that stuff to me is very foreign. So when people experience things like that, I'm always, I look like I'm like gazing into your eyes, but I'm picturing the whole thing happening. Like it sounds like that would be a cool experience. I mean, people always say to me like, or they'll ask me like, well, weren't you scared? I'm like, I didn't have time to be scared. It happened so fast.
Right.
It doesn't.
Well, and people always ask me, aren't you afraid? And I'm like, no, it's asking me if I'm shocked to see animals at the zoo. I went to this haunted location to have an experience. So I'm kind of primed and ready for it. I don't know. Dana's got an interesting theory that the people in white died virgins. So when the peaches die, I should just be looking for the darkest, inkiest black figures I've ever seen in my
I
life.
saw that pleather
With the
suit.
rubbery look and everything. That makes
Yes.
sense. That makes sense.
And I'm just letting you
Folks,
see my
just so you
backside.
know, these are my friends. I'm just playing and teasing. I'm not being sexist. We're just having fun as
No,
friends would do.
yes, we
Yeah.
know that. They're all on here. They love you.
I
Everybody
will
knows.
glow white like this halo around my head because I'm so virginal. Me and my 11 kids. Yeah.
There was something else. Let me see here. Sorry. You can see that walking down Bourbon Street. Oh, the black outfits, I guess. Or
the black rubber outfits. Yeah.
Courtney Peterson says, at any time has there been any situation or investigation that you had that made you question leaving the paranormal field?
When my mom died, I kind of just felt like maybe I didn't want to do this anymore. When it gets close to home, and I had a bunch of quote unquote mediums reach out to me with messages. And I said, I don't believe that you got a message for my mom, because if my mom was going to come to me, it would have come from one of these 2 or 3 people, somebody that she loved, somebody that she knew and trusted. So just some random person. So I started questioning a lot of the paranormal with that instance. But then it kind of, I snapped back to reality, because I was like, but my mom loved this. My mom loved this field. She went with me to events. She attended. She used to read the books. I'm into this stuff because of her, because of all of the upbringing and the stories and the things we shared. So it'd be stupid for me to shut it down. Plus, I have my mom's ashes in a little cross that I take with me to events, so that she continues to get to go on tour and cruises and live events with me. So she gets to continue to be a part of that paranormal world. So that's the only thing. It wasn't anything scary that made me think I'm out of here. Because again, I want to give answers. Even when I've gotten knocked down and hurt, like in Holzer Files or in Devil's Perch, it sounds strange, but Tara and I look at it more as a gift than a curse. Yeah. Because I'm just thankful the ghost picked me, so that I wasn't the one that was going to overreact and call it a demon. We had to have hard talks sometimes, and I'd yell at the ghost and, hey, this is not acceptable. I'm here to help you. You don't have to push me around. You don't have to try to scare me. Let's work through this. What can I do for you? And we've got some really brilliant answers and responses from the spirit realm doing that. So I'm really pleased with that. But when my mom died, that was the closest I've ever been to just wanting to hang it up. When I walked away from Darkness Radio, that was another moment I kind of thought, maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm not just done with the paranormal. Maybe the paranormal's done with me. And I wasn't sure how I felt. And 2-3 months off, and I missed the conversations. I missed the weirdness and the camaraderie that it brings. So I came back with the Paranormal 60, and Tim was flying with the Darkness Radio. He took over after I left, and he's doing great and finally getting the spotlight that he had wanted and deserved all the years. But you can't have 2 captains of a ship, and that's what he told me when we started. So now he got to be the captain of the ship. So I just I built my show Mondays and Fridays. He's on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So I wasn't interfering with his programming and he with mine, so that we could kind of coexist in the same world, and have totally different things that we were able to do and bring to the audiences. So that's kind of it. But that was another moment I kind of thought maybe I should just be done with the paranormal. But then I'd miss the paranormal peaches at events, and I wouldn't be out and invited anymore. So I've got to be there.
Let me ask her this one. Let me say, Lauren, Peachy. I'll go to my Peach. Is there anything you haven't experienced paranormally yet? Something you hope for one day?
I would love to see a USO, and that's the underwater UFOs. But you can't say F because it's not flying. It's a submersible object. I would love to see a cryptid up close, not too close, but within 100 yards, and somebody slower me between. I can run and leave that other person behind, like Shane. I
did it. I did it at Hinsdale.
Yeah, so that would be it. I think having like a full-on cryptid or alien encounter. You know, I'd still, God, who wouldn't want to step into an alien craft? And you know, if I got to deal with a little anal probing, what am I, a prude? Come on. Nothing any different than what it cost me to go into the Peaches room to get a free drink once in a while.
True.
Get up on the coffee table and dance for us, monkey boy.
Yes, that sounds like
I hate
Kim.
myself. Just hand me a drink. Yeah.
That sounds like Kim all the way.
Yeah. Hashtag poor Dave. Damn Skippy. Yeah. God, I loved her on Weeds. Wasn't she good on that TV show?
Yes. Oh my God. What'd she say? There was another question. Oh, hey Dave, do you carry any attachments from all the years in the paranormal?
That's a weird concept. I'm not mediumistic, so I can't look and see the ghost and go, oh, this guy's from Eastern State Penitentiary, or this one's from the Stanley. I know that I've had hauntings around me, but I'm pretty good at trying to manifest and set intention and keep things from bothering me, because I do have a family and I want to keep them protected. And I think because I come from a place of love and respect for the spirits, I think that they don't feel the need to cling to me. I try to do my business when I'm with them. You know, when I leave a location, I do a clearing prayer. And the prayer I always put out is, Lord, I just ask that you baptize each of these rooms in the blood of Jesus Christ, that you invite the Holy Spirit to come through and collect any spirits that are lost or forgotten, any spirits that have lost their way. And I ask that you bring forth their loved ones, their friends, their pets, anything that'll help ease that transition to the other side. And that any spirits that elect to stay behind, Lord, I just ask that you bind them in a thorny hedge of protection to keep them from doing harm to the living. And I pray this in your name. Amen. And so I kind of feel like I'm trying to, you set that intention. I don't walk in a place of fear, because fear will kill you. Fear is a cancer. And I just feel that you have to be in control, or don't do those kind of situations. Don't go in those places if you're going to be afraid all the time. Right. So I have attachments in a different way. I feel very attached to some of the spirits that I've helped over the years, or tried to help. I feel the attachment of the locations. I feel like I have a connection with places like the Stanley and the Queen Mary, and like they were a home to me, and they'll always be a part of me. And even though they're not as accessible now for the paranormal, I've always got that in me. That's that'll always be carried. And that's in a sense, an attachment. So nothing negative.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's how I am with Gettysburg. That's my, I have the coordinates tattooed on my arm. That's my, I would love to live.
It's easier just to use your phone for GPS, Taryn, if that helps out. Let me see.
Sabrina asks, you have a favorite crypto that you're fascinated with?
Yes. Yeah. If anybody's listened to my show for the last 17 years, I'm fascinated with the snallygaster. I did not know what this creature was. And then I heard about it one day, and I was reading a news story, and it just made me laugh. The name is so ridiculous, snallygaster. And then the description of it, it's got kind of this giant bird head with a hippopotamus body with tentacles. And in my brain, just this voice came out, and I became the voice of the snallygaster. And so whenever I speak about the snallygaster, this voice comes out of me, because that's what I imagine a snallygaster would sound like, with a big old bird head and a hippopotamus body with that tentacles. Look at me, tentacles, Dave. That to me is what a snallygaster. So I love the snallygaster. I'm so fascinated with the snallygaster that is, to me, that is my and it's funny. I did a whole bit one day. I was reading a story, and I think it's up on my YouTube page, but I had a whole conversation with the snallygaster, and it was just off the top of my head. And of course you couldn't see me. So we have this little cartoon image of the snallygaster talking while I'm doing the voices. But I carried on this conversation, and my editor that put it together, my producer, goes, dude, how many people live in your head? Because that was a pretty fluid conversation between two radically different beings. And So Snally's always a part of me, and I don't do it often on camera because that shows you just how ridiculous I look when I'm doing that voice. And that's the face that I make every time that the Snally comes out of me.
It doesn't sound like I'd be afraid of it.
Right, exactly. And then I love the fact that he has a mortal enemy, and it's the Dwayyo, which is like kind of a wolf man, but kind of off. It's like a wolf man that's just a little off center. So the Dwayyo, he's a horrible being. And then on the radio one night, I had a fight between the Dwayyo and Snally, and most of my other voices just sound like Rolf the dog. So it's like, hey, there comes that Snallygaster again. Yeah, that's Mr. Snallygaster to you, buddy. And just had this weird little battle. Those are my favorite videos. Because listen, Dogman, werewolves, skinwalkers, shapeshifters, the Dwayyo. I'm a Dwayyo. That's just those things do not sound. The Snallygaster and me, the Dwayyo. Neither one of them sound menacing.
Right.
So they're my favorites of the cryptid world. If I could live in a world where any two existed, forget Bigfoot, forget Loch Ness Monster, screw you, Chupacabra. I want to live in a world where Snallygaster and the Dwayyo are forever locked in mortal combat. Come here, I'll get you with me tentacles, you big hairy bastard.
Oh my God. She says, Dana says, isn't allegedly in Maryland.
Yeah, it's on the East Coast somewhere. I know there's now an official Snallygaster museum that exists. So look it up. It's awesome. And I want to get out to it. Yeah, I have the t-shirt from the museum. They heard me do that whole bit and they sent me a t-shirt because that's what led into that story. It was reading the story about the new Snallygaster museum, and I started asking Snally if he was excited that there was a museum dedicated to him, and it just worked out well.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look that. I'm gonna have to find that because that I'm literally next time if you ever come on again, if I'm ever blessed enough to have you on again, I have to wear what is that? The
waterproof. Yeah, me too. Because ain't nobody want to see my eyes leaking down my face, Taryn. Anthony Sokol says, have you ever investigated White Cemetery in Cuba, Illinois, near Barrington? I grew up near Barrington, Illinois, but I've never investigated the White Cemetery. I've been to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. I've been all over. There was a creepy little, in Hanover Park, there was a creepy little pet cemetery.
Oh.
And I remember I went there. I went there one night with my buddy Paul and our girlfriends. And it's in this little wooded area. And we come pulling in his old car and we turn off the lights. And we come. And all of a sudden we caught a glint of something. And we popped open the lights and there was a guy digging a hole. And he slowly turned and looked at us. And it was like straight out of a horror movie. Boom! Into reverse, flying out of that damn parking lot.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And that place was creepy. I'd been there with my girlfriend before, and we were sitting there in the cemetery because we'd heard it was haunted. And damn it, if you couldn't hear little footprints walking up to you like animals were walking around in the woods by us. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. I was smiling because I was waiting for that to go like to a joke somewhere, but then
no, that's serious. Yeah, no, the joke was we pulled in and it was every horror movie thing you could imagine. The guy's out there digging a hole and he just turns and looks at us. We're like, whoa, because I guess that's a great place to hide a body is in a pet cemetery. I should probably go back there. I remember the general vicinity. I should probably have a cadaver dog go out there and see if he can find a dead body because I'm probably witness to a crime. Very weird.
Wow, that is crazy. Yeah, that would freak me out too. Well, especially I'm in Jersey, so it's Pine Barrens, and you don't even know what you're gonna come across if you go waltzing.
You got the Jersey Devil out there.
That's the one cryptid that I don't believe in.
How dare you? But he believes in you, Taryn. So that's all.
I hope not. I don't believe in it. Well, actually, I just don't think. I think it's just an exaggerated story of a child that was born deformed, and the legend just grew and grew and grew, and hence we have the Jersey Devil. I believe there's a lot worse things in the Pine Barrens than the Jersey Devil. People, for one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Darren says, question, is there a haunted location you won't go back to?
No, not really. Not one that's affected me negatively. Some were just like, okay, that's interesting, and I don't need to go back there, that kind of thing. But none because I'm afraid of it or had a bad experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but I can't even think of which ones I wouldn't go back to.
I
And I
know.
guess if something was happening, I'd go back.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anywhere that I wouldn't ever not go back to. There's places that I didn't get to go to that I wanted to go to, and now they don't, like you mentioned one Stanley Hotel, but I mean, I can always
Mm-hmm.
just book a room for a couple of nights and do my own thing. They don't have to know.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to remortgage your house, you could book a room there. They're super expensive now. We used
Really?
to get those. Oh yeah, we used to get those rooms for about 89 to $99. And from what I understand, like the Stephen King suite now is like $395 a night or something
Oh
ridiculous.
my
I bet a lot
goodness.
of people tell me that. So I don't know. Weird.
Well, there's people. Look at her. She is so bad. She goes right here. Talk loudly. I'm
Yeah.
taking Kimberly.
So let's like ASMR instead for the rest of the show. We're going to talk about the supernatural this way. Well, you could just imagine me in the shower with you, with me tentacles all wrapped around you, Kimberly.
I can't.
Snapping my hippopotamus body with my big bird beak on you.
She's so
Oh, I know what you want, you dirty girl. Everybody else is like, what is this moron doing and who is he talking to? What's the one object in the world you'd never want to be haunted? A condom.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, the toilet, bathrooms are haunted all the time. I hate that. Like at the Stanley Hotel downstairs in their main lobby, the bathroom down there, the women's bathroom, the toilet paper used to just unspool by itself while they were sitting there. And the water would go on by itself all the time. And I've been in locations where I'm investigating, we get nothing, and I go into the bathroom with an EVP recorder and the SLS camera, and we capture. It's like the ghosts are hiding in the bathroom. That's the worst place, and that's always been the one law I put down in my house: leave my kids alone and don't mess with me in the bathroom.
Wow.
Although that's the one place you don't mind getting the shit scared of you. That would be the place I'm not bothered. Yeah. Darren's saying he doesn't want his toilet haunted. Trust me, after a week of me living there, the house would be no longer haunted. The toilet would be like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I can't live like this. I would be haunting the bathroom.
Yeah, he said toilet is the number one answer. Is what he said. I said car. Christine really messed me up. Oh, it sounds like Michael Knight. Michael Knight was computer. Christine was haunted.
What has this become? Darren? Does Darren have his own podcast? He can get me on as a guest and go over all these. What would you want to be haunted? I don't want anything to be haunted, because to me that makes it almost makes me sad, because I feel like, why is that spirit there? Usually it's to be remembered for something. And I don't believe that. Here, I'll throw this at you too. I believe a lot of hauntings that we deal with are fractals. They're small pieces of who we once were. They're probably there because it was a traumatic experience, whether it was positive or negative, superly highly charged moment in their life. And I think always going to be that little shade, that element left over. So I'd like everything to not be haunted, because then I feel like the spirits would be at rest. And that'd make our jobs a lot lamer, but that'll just give me more time to find Snally guests.
Dave, you are amazing. You're so amazing.
Thank you, Karen. See, you were afraid of having me on, and now you can't even get me off.
No,
that was maybe the wrong term to use in this crowd. I can already hear Kim choking on shower water about that one. But with that said, I'm going to get going, because I can't beat this cough, and I feel another one welling up in my chest. But Taryn, thank you for letting me out of my cage for an hour to come chat with you and have some fun.
Thank you so much, Dave. And everybody knows where. If I just look up Dave, you'll see everything he's doing. He's amazing. He's awesome.
Look up Dave on Google. Don't even need a last name. I'm like Cher and Madonna. Just look up Dave. No, go check out Paranormal 60. I have a podcast you can listen to on just about all podcast platforms, or I have a live show on YouTube Mondays and Fridays. You can watch the videos, play along, have some fun with us. This Friday, we're doing a live show. And I would love for the Paranormal Peaches to pop in and share some of their favorite paranormal stories. If you're interested, email me.
Anytime.
Yeah, email me, Dave at paranormal60, paranormal60.com, Dave at paranormal60.com. I'll send anybody that's listening a link that would like to come on the video, just like this, and tell us a story. We're asking everybody to keep it down to one weird, funny, silly, creepy story, whether it's ghosts, aliens, cryptids, or whatnot. But I'd love to have you on the show this Friday with our news crew, because I think the news is going to be a little there's not going to be a lot of news in the week of Thanksgiving for paranormal. Right. So we'd like to fill it with true tales of the supernatural and with some news. So if people are interested, Paranormal 60, it's live on Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Central. That's 10 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you on the West Coast, 7 to 8 p.m. So just check it out, the Paranormal 60. Taryn, thanks for having me on. Love to you and the Peaches, and I look forward to seeing you guys this year.
Yeah, we can't wait. Love you, Dave. Thank you so much. You were awesome.
Love you too. Take care.
Good night. That was amazing. He was great. He is so funny. He is just awesome. Very, 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 very thankful he came on. I'm very thankful he's a friend. I'm very thankful that he's so awesome. I want to thank everybody for watching and tuning in. I did try to get to everybody's questions. I'm so sorry if I missed any. Oh, thank you. Yeah, he's so fun. My stomach hurts from laughing. Somebody said I had to work harder, but I didn't know what that meant. So I'm sorry I didn't get to that. I apologize. I know I did see that. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thank you. He's awesome. Please. I really appreciate that. I do have a special episode coming up this Sunday with Johnny Russell. And Paranorml Brew is booked. I mean, I have stuff booked next year. We'll be doing live investigations with the Peaches and, all kinds of stuff. So I'm also going to have John Ruggiero on. Daniel Kleiss is coming on. Ron Murphy. I'm booked until February 1st. So I hope everybody joins me. Thank you guys so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I will see you guys Sunday, hopefully. This takes forever. Good night, guys. I love you.